I got a lot of stuff to say. Yesterday was my beautiful daughter Alyssa's 21st birthday. It's hard to believe that nearly a quarter century ago, I became a dad. We were very young, naive. All those things that you could say about, kids having kids, that was us, except for one thing. When we had Alyssa, we took responsibility for the fact that we had a baby. There was no family handouts. There was no, all those people there to raise our child as their own. I see now a lot of people, grandparents are raising the grandchildren as their own because the new young kids that are having kids, babies having babies, aren't taking any responsibility for the action. It's kind of unnerving a little bit because, these kids have zero consequence. But regardless, that's not where we're going with this conversation. That'll be a conversation for another day. But I have a lot of things to say about my own. Now, again, kids having kids. We made a lot of choices. We made some good choices. We made some bad choices. But either which way, we dealt with whatever the choices we made were. Unfortunately, things between myself and her mother did not last, as probably, a lot of things were expected. But we still managed to, for the most part, keep it together for this baby. This cute baby. We stayed together for about a year and then we split up. But regardless of the fact, we still stayed in communication, although at some points it was very rough to do so, but we still did it. I still had my daughter every other weekend for the next 17 years at that point. And for multiple times during those years, my ex actually lived with me. Whether or not I was in a relationship, whether or not I was married, she still lived with us whenever she was in trouble and could not get out of the situation that she was in, or just found herself in strife. She ended up living with us, and that happened multiple times over that period of time. Things happened. I was married. I ended up getting divorced 6 years ago, and during that time of my first separation, my ex, as I say, the double baby mama drama. So my first ex, we became close again. She was there to support me through my divorce and all of that stuff. Until I met somebody else. So she was there as my friend until that just didn't seem to work out for her anymore. So, and I'm not trying to dump my life story on everybody. I'm a very quiet person. I really don't care to share. But something has been happening lately that really needs to be addressed. And this has been happening over the last couple of years. Ever since that new relationship of mine where, I met the person that I'm with now and whom I love very much. Ever since then, my initial ex, the mother of my daughter, of my oldest daughter, has been very cold and callous. And I didn't realize to what extent until I started to educate myself a little bit. The education that I've received and what I've been learning about is about being an alienated parent. And I am an alienated parent. At first I didn't know what it was. At first I thought, my daughter was becoming a teenager, which all of us fathers dread. Then it became a little bit more than that. All of a sudden it became she didn't want to hang out anymore. She didn't want to come over anymore. Now, mind you, in our new relationship, we are a blended family. there are three of my I'll call her wife for lack of a better term, but there are three children that my wife have. There are three other children from my divorced marriage. So we are a blended family of 6, including Alyssa, that would be 7. A lot of kids, and they're all young. So we kind of chalked it up to that. Maybe the oldest didn't want to hang around because, I don't know, maybe she thought she was an instant babysitter, which she never was. Maybe she thought that she just didn't fit in because there was all these little kids and then her because she's that much older than the rest of them. I don't know. Maybe her life was taking precedent, which is okay. She's allowed to have a life. You know, she's obviously allowed to have relationships and all of this stuff. I don't like it. I'm a dad. I belong to the DADD association, you know, the Dads Against Daughters Dating. I'm a strong believer in that because, of course, there's no guy that's ever going to be good enough for my daughter, which was probably said about me about 1,000 times from other fathers. But, again, I digress. About 18 years old, she stopped coming around. And I've seen her maybe a handful of times since then. I used to see her every other weekend. She used to live with me. We used to have great times. There's all kinds of video, photos, memories, all that stuff. But something just happened. And it happened around the same time that my relationship became serious with my wife now. So I'm not sure what the plan was. I'm not sure why things went the way they did. I don't even think anybody else knows other than my ex. And there's a reason why my ex is my ex. She's very manipulative. Manipulates a lot of people around her. As a matter of fact, almost everybody around her. And unfortunately, she's manipulated our own daughter. Whether or not I'm a good dad, whether or not I'm a great dad, I'm a dad. I have the right to have a daughter. I've never done anything to anybody. I've never hurt anybody. I've never abused anybody. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I never really have. Am I saying I never did it? I've done things. But never to my kids. Never around my kids. Never in front of my kids. I don't choose to party when I have my kids. I don't choose to get drunk around my kids. I don't choose to do drugs around my kids, which I don't do drugs or drink anyway. So, you know, I choose my kids. And there's 6 kids that can testify to that fact. These 6 kids that are now 9, 9, 9, 12, 12, 13, these 6 kids have seen this for the last 6 years. About 3 of which, Alyssa was here with us. Whether or not in her own mind she doesn't feel like she fits, she does. There's a huge family on this side that misses her every day. There's a huge family on this side that would love nothing more than for her to just touch base, return a message. We text, we call, we Facebook, we do all kinds of things to reach out, and there's nothing in return. And there's nothing that's been done to her to justify this. The things that scare me, though, are when we do talk, the words that come out of her mouth are not her own. The words that come out of her mouth are things that her mother would vindictively say. Whether or not they are word for word, they are tone for tone. And the unfortunate part is that her mother put this on a child. She's 21 now, as of yesterday. But this didn't start yesterday. This actually started quite a long time ago. Probably before anybody even heard the word alienated. Before anybody even felt like they were an alienated parent. At some points, probably parents just felt like they couldn't fight the fight. I don't want to be that parent. I don't want to fight my daughter to see my daughter. I don't want to fight my daughter to prove that I'm a good dad. I want my daughter to know that she's loved. That's all I can do. Her grandparents miss her. Her step-grandparents miss her. My wife Debbie misses her. I miss her. Her brothers and sisters miss her. Her uncles and aunts miss her. There's a gigantic family on this side that misses her. Loves her very much. And hopefully one day that can actually be enough to actually make her realize that the one person on the other side of all of this has just manipulated her. Whether or not she wants to believe it, because who wants to believe that the closest person to you would actually manipulate you? Who wants to believe that the closest person to you is lying to you? None of us want to do that. None of us would ever want to believe that, but it's usually the closest person to us that has hurt us. The reason why they can do that is because they are the closest person to us. They're the person that we let in. They're the person that we trust. Everybody else, they can't get close enough to you to hurt you. They can't get close enough to you to break your trust. Not like your parent. I don't know what else to say other than I love my daughter. I miss her very much. And 21 years ago, she made me change the person who I was. And anybody who still remembers me from 21 years ago knows that I probably shouldn't have made it to 21 myself. But because of her, I did. Because of her, I strive to be a lot better. A lot better of a person. Definitely a lot better of a dad. Just better in general. I don't even know anymore what to say to her, how to reach out to her. Hopefully this does reach her. Hopefully she gets to see it. Anybody that knows my daughter, maybe share it. I don't want to be blocked from her life because somebody else couldn't stand sharing. Somebody else had to actually allow the fact that there was two parents. And there was so many lies spread about me, not only by Alyssa's mother, but also by my ex-wife, whom, the two of them, which is funny enough, actually became best friends the day after my ex and I separated. So I actually had my double baby mama drama ganging up on me for the last 6 years. And there's actually a very funny comment. Not funny, not in that sense. But you can tell the manipulation that's going on with my exes towards my children. The comment it was directed towards Alyssa, the fact that I don't see her. And the comment was, 1 down, 3 more to go. This is a plan. This is a manipulating plan to actually kill off a father from their children for no reason other than being vindictive. I didn't do anything to either one of them. I never cheated on them. I never was abusive to them. I never ever did anything to them other than leave them because they were unhealthy for me. Unfortunately, sometimes that's more than enough for the person you leave to try and break you for the rest of your life. And they use your children to do that because they realize it's the only thing that will actually hurt you. I wish everybody would just move on with their lives. You don't hear from me very much. I don't come out on Facebook and complain every day. I don't have a lot to say to everybody because I let everybody make their own decisions. Have I lost friends because of it? Yeah, because the other people were there to manipulate them. I wasn't. I allowed them to choose. They chose. I don't blame them for the choice they make. That's their choice. I have friends that have stayed because of the same option. Those friends are real friends. Everybody else, they can choose sides. Don't care. Doesn't hurt me. Messing with my kids does. I now know why fathers react the way they do to these mothers. I know why fathers freak out. I know why fathers feel desperate and desolate. When you attack somebody's children, when you play these games of manipulation with the child themselves, you tear these children apart. They are 50-50 of their parents, regardless of what the courts say, regardless of your visitation rights, regardless, even if you're a criminal, your children are still 50-50 of both parents. They are made up of our DNA. They are half us and half you. The fact that you can't accept that, and the fact that you manipulate your child, and I'm not just talking about my ex, I'm talking about everybody's exes out there. The fact that you manipulate your child to learn to hate their other parent makes them hate half of themselves. What are you doing to these children? How much pleasure do you gain while you watch your child rip themselves in half because something's missing, because they feel like they don't belong, because they need both parents? I've gone 21 years on this planet raising something that I never felt, someone that I never felt I would have ever been able to. The first day that my daughter was born changed my life. She became a part of my life, and all I could do was love her. Scared to hell, but that doesn't change love. I'm sure there's a lot more to say on this topic. And I'm sure this isn't the last I'm going to hear about it, because I'm sure it will get back to everybody. And there's going to be a lot more said on this topic. There needs to be a lot more said on this topic. I'm not the only father out there that is going through this. I'm not the only mother out there that is going through this. Well, I'm not a mother, but you know what I mean. There are mothers out there going through this as well. It is not sexist. It is not strictly towards fathers or strictly towards mothers. There are parents out there that the other parent just needs to feed their narcissism. For my daughter's 21st birthday, I wished for my daughter back. I hope I get to see her. I hope she wants to see me. There are a lot of hopes, a lot of wants. Till next time.